to be honest with you, Trump ran on hate, and hate is a very powerful tool, right? Hating on immigrants, hating on disabled people, hating on minorities. People can connect with that, especially with this day and age. That really resonates with people. It really resonates with people, with certain people. So that's just really works for him.
Well, and that's true because she did have a town hall meeting with some local black activists. I think it was in California, as well as with D.L. Hughley, Spike Lee. It was a whole bunch of them. And they had like a town hall meeting about, what she presented a program for black men, and not only just black men, but black people. And, they never really advertised that. A lot of people didn't even hear about it. But I think a lot of propaganda was directed towards her because of her time as a prosecutor. And yeah, she made a mistake, but that she was doing her job as well. So yeah, I don't understand why people were like, just I don't think she campaigned as much as she should have. Yeah. She didn't really campaign like she should have. I support hate.
So again,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so again, winning president, history was against her side, right? It was an uphill battle to begin with. She had a very short period of time in which to get a message out. I didn't think the message was very clear, but again, she also had a short period of time to try to get it out. Number one. Number two, being a prosecutor does hurt you with respect to black men, because the criminal justice system has not been very friendly historically to black men. But getting back to my original point, garnering support for a particular demographic, it's a team sport, and the blue team does not have a very good record with respect to black men. It just does not. And as a accomplished black man, I've tried to articulate this point many times. A lot of the initiatives, even a lot of initiatives named, don't immediately address black men. Cannabis does not. It's run by white men. That doesn't because those doors aren't open for black men, right? So it's a image problem that they need to take time to fix, and she didn't have the time to do it. Clearly, because you said that she launched initiatives and nobody knows about it, which means she didn't have time to do it. And it shows the rest of her team wasn't doing it either. Because if the initiatives are out there and they're popular, they would be well known. But that's
so it's interesting that you say that the blue team doesn't have a good track record with black men when it's a lot of the policies done by Republicans that have ravished communities, right? So that's why I'm very confused, because when they're talking about cutting 30% of the Department of Education, that was Ronald Reagan, right? You're talking about, getting us into an unnecessary war, that was Bush, right? I mean, so I'm like, how is that? And we know that certain populations, serve in the military disproportionately, right? So who does that really affect? So I know both parties have made mistakes and have fucked up, but for you to sit up here and say that, blue teams will have a good record when, who introduced cocaine, right? Who was shipping cocaine from Colombia to LA, New York? Like, who was doing that? Like, you're talking about destroying communities. I mean, I don't think anything had an effect worse than crack, right? So, yeah, that doesn't really make sense to me, but maybe, I don't know, revisionist history.
But also, you have to look at, like you said, he ran on hate. Look at his cabinet. How many black people are black? And all the people that he fired, a lot of black people had federal jobs. Okay, look at he's talking about DEI. All of that is propaganda. I studied, like Hitler and different dictators his whole, and I'm not going by what they're saying on TV or in the media, his whole campaign, just the things that he's doing where he's trying to revise history, even with that military march that he had with the on his birthday, Hitler did the same thing. He did the same thing. He used Trump is using immigration. Hitler used the Jews. Okay, it's always going to be somebody when fascism comes in, and the way that he garnered the courts and everything else, it was all a plan. Okay, this thing wasn't just happening now. This was all planned out. Okay, you're getting rid of history. You're trying to erase black people's history, just like Hitler erased the Jews out of German society with their history. It's the same blueprint. It's like he's following his blueprint. And I don't understand how anybody could sit up here and say that the Republicans are better for black people than the Democrats. There's no way. Even looking at his cabinet, even him bringing those South Africans over. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, look at the man. Look at what he's doing. He did not lie when his hate did not lie. He came right out and said what he wanted to say, and people just went right along with it.
So to be clear, I said a specific demographic, black men. Black men don't care about the Gulf War. Black men don't care about none of that stuff. Yes, cocaine was a bad problem for the black community. Yes, Reagan was the catalyst there. But then Democrats said, "Hey, we're going to lock up black men." That's why I said the criminal justice system, with respect to black men, does not have a great record. And I know there are a lot of local initiatives that black men have pushed for, so like educational initiatives that will get our boys on track, that they push for, and locally, state and locally, the blue team is pushed against. There's a lot of family court initiatives. There's a lot of family court initiatives that locally and state that black men have asked for and the Dems have pushed back against. And again, I'm not saying the Republicans are better. I'm simply saying that the blue team is not offering them anything, and they're saying with their votes, and even though it's a small percentage, it's enough to make a difference. They're saying there's nothing in the blue team for me here. I'm going to try the red team. Those are the facts, and that piece is what the blue team is not listening to. It's like at some point you're going to have to say, you have to stop preaching to these people and say, and give them something that they're asking for.
When the GOP
Where do you live?
Been in charge, right?
Where do you live? Because it's not like that in New
Two people are
Jersey.
going now. Let Arthur go.
Okay.
And then Mr. can respond, and then you can go. Regina.
If we're gonna actually go by that narrative, right? When the GOP have been in charge, they're like, "Hey, we're trying to other team." When the GOP have been in charge, they haven't done anything for them. So you can't say that the other team they're going to try the other team when the other team has been in charge and has not done anything for you. And again, that crime bill was bipartisan. Both sides wanted that crime bill to go through, not just the Dems.
Yeah, all you're saying is they both swung on me, and the one that was supposed to be loyal to me swung on me. So that's the one I'm going to remember. Right, saying that they're also guilty does not, exonerate them from their guilt. Right? Terrible choice of words, but you get what I'm saying. And again, and I'm in Florida. Let me be clear. I'm no novice to politics. Right? I was a lobbyist in Washington D.C. My lobbying started in the state of Wisconsin. I remember vividly sitting in a town hall with the Milwaukee caucus, which is mostly black Democrats, right? And I remember people asking to deal with the local police, a department that I was a part of, right? And the response was more police. And I remember saying, why would you give why would you hire more people that they already don't trust? And it was, and again, I am no fan of this man, but the then Republican governor decided.
It sounds like you are a fan of him.
No, here's the problem, saying respectfully, I don't have a side, right? I call balls and strikes. If someone has a good idea, I call a good idea. If they have a bad idea, I call a bad idea. Right? But I'm not even talking about Donald Trump right now. I'm just simply illustrating. I'm illustrating an issue that black men had, and a Republican said, "Okay, fine." And in this instance, two things that the Republican governor did. One was he removed the DA from investigating their own local department, and they hired an external group to do just simple investigations when police do bad things. And they were one of the first departments to start doing that. That is something black men ask for, because guess who suffers disproportionately with police brutality? Black people. And the majority of the people at the town hall, believe it or not, were black men asking for these reforms. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about.
All right, so wait, hold on, Levon, let Regina go and then you can go. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm really not understanding. Okay, so he threw you a bone. Okay, but the majority of the time, when have black people excelled under which party the most?
Black men are failing. Black men and black boys right now are failing horrendously under both parties.
And that may be in Florida, but that's not in New Jersey.
That is nationally, and the party that is supposed to be helping them is not helping them. They've reached out for help. They're not getting help. And I'm telling you the perspective
from our perspective. Okay, because that's his opinion, Regina, and you could already tell he's biased. Go ahead, Lamar.
Yeah, I'm not biased.
Yeah, you are, because you're punishing. You keep punishing Democrats, but that's fine. We don't have to make this conversation about you. We could, like, Levon, please just don't address him, because if you address him, it's just going to be back and forth, and you already know what's going on here. All right, we've already been down this road. So
I don't know how I'm punishing anybody. The voters are voting with their votes. I'm just telling you why.
All right, well, it's Levon's turn.
No, just people talking naturally don't work out. But anyway, what I wanted to say is,
we could barely hear you because you have a lot of background.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hopefully this is better. What are the Republicans doing now for that? That's what I'm interested in.
What is he doing now for black men? Getting rid of undocumented immigrants, because they're taking black men's jobs. Apparently, black men work on farms.
Yeah, I'm here in Florida, being to strawberry farms that have pretty strawberries. I don't see black people bending down, working their back for hours in 96, 98 degrees to put strawberries today.
I'm sorry, I didn't say that they were doing anything. Republicans are doing anything for black people.
No, I wanted to hear your argument or your explanation as to what, or like the party that's been calling now, what are they specifically doing to help black men? That's what I want to
do. I didn't say they were. I'm telling you that the party
exactly.
I'm saying this. I'm going to say it again. The party that they were looking for help from is not giving them help, and so they decided, what have I got to lose? I'm gonna try the other party. I never made the argument that Trump was doing anything for these people. I never made that argument.
What percentage of black people voted?
It increased. Black men. We're talking about black men specifically. It increased. I think Trump got the highest number of black male votes since Nixon or something.
And he hasn't given them anything?
No.
Don't you think that's an issue?
Yes, thank you.
Of course. But my point is that the reason that they're even trying it is because they're not getting anything from the blue team. That's what I'm saying.
So you could just promise them and not do shit, and people will vote for you. Got it. So in other words, people are gullible and they fell for the bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Finley, you're I hear what you're trying to say, but that's just simply, I guess, you know what, from a perspective of a black MAGA, maybe so, but everyone else in reality can see that they were finessed. He literally put in policies, Project 2025. All the bullshit is clear as day that he was not for black people. So the fact that you say, oh, well, we're just going to go ahead and try the other party that's literally saying we're going to screw you guys over.
I didn't say we, by the way.
Oh, well, you know what I'm talking about. So bottom line is, it's not, they were finessed. They were finessed. I mean, literally. They're talking about fucking around with the Civil Rights Act. I mean, look at all the shit they're doing. There's no reason any black man should have said, oh, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and dabble in this because, shit, what have I got to lose? You have a lot to lose. Shit, you had a lot to lose, and he was making it obvious. So if what you're saying is true, then all you're saying is that, damn, Black MAGA was just dumb as fuck.
So calling them dumb and call them whatever you want to call them,
Well,
I don't care. I don't call them what you want to call them. I don't care. I'm telling you the problem. And I've had this conversation with my black Democratic elected officials that I freaking know, and they're not listening, right? You can call them dumb and name call them. I am simply telling you that the blue team is failing to continue to garner their votes. That's what I'm telling you. I am not endorsing the Republican Party in any way, shape, or form. But I'm getting attacked as if I'm endorsing them, and I'm getting attacked as if I don't know what's going on. I am telling you what's going on. That's it. I'm just simply telling you it's raining. That's all.
But it sounds like you're going by talking points that I've heard all over, like the media and YouTube about Democrats not doing certain things.
He is going by talking points. He's speaking on behalf of the black MAGA males. I get where he's coming from. We heard it several different times over that black men felt like the Democrats wasn't getting them nothing. I don't see why y'all coming at him. He was just giving a perspective as to why he believes the black MAGA males was that party. I hear what you're saying, Finley.
Exactly. Thank you.
But proportionately speaking, I mean, to say that they've got nothing is disingenuous. And the fact that they don't understand their civics and history and how we got to where we are today.
Well, they're not that tight, clearly. So.
Fair enough.
Or a lot of times, good afternoon, everybody. A lot of times, it's the challenge is, I think, I said this before in this room, and a couple of rooms before, and I understand where Mr.'s coming from to a certain degree. I think politics is all, like, who we've chosen, at least from a black perspective, has always been sort of a last mile problem. I still remember one guy suggesting that he voted for Trump only because he didn't want the government to interfere with black people. And there are some people with that sentiment, but but the challenge becomes they don't always put, what's the other shoe coming. And I think they may not necessarily be MAGA, it's just maybe a little bit of a conservative interest or bent that, what JD said, what Trump finessed at some level. It's just something that I think people are starting to at least wake up a little bit to it, but I think it will always be a little bit of a challenge. I think it's the idea that you're voting for somebody that you think can fix one thing, but the problem with Trump is that one thing is mixed in with other things that are so either unconstitutional or just dead wrong that your vote becomes this sort of, meaningless thing. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
That too, I agree with that too. But we're dealing with people who are, for the most part, misinformed. They going by, they're basing all of their information off of propaganda that they see on the internet, and they believed that somehow they made more money during the time that he was a president before. Like, these people aren't rep tights, okay? They are Delulu. You think that black males being MAGA is the issue? Well, black women being MAGA is even worse, okay? Like, the shit that comes out of their mouths is just, I can't believe half of the shit that comes out of their mouths, to be honest with you, but it comes, and it's like diarrhea in the mouth, and they just continue on with the rhetoric, and even when they see the mirror in their face, they look through it, and they act like nothing is going on. It's just, this is where we are right now.
But I think we were coming from, because the majority of the black men, it wasn't black women that voted for Trump.
I understand, but we do have black women that voted for Trump.
And even though it was a lot of black men, there wasn't as many. It wasn't so many that he could say he took all of the black men. It was black men who voted for Kamala too. One of the biggest issues, was, like you said before, was that a lot of people didn't show up. But another issue that a lot of people seem to not want to talk about for some odd reason, and I'm the only person that likes to say this, is that he cheated. Like, why don't nobody talk about the fact that he cheated? He cheated.
I believe that too. I believe that.
Like, nobody wanted to talk about it, and I'm upset with Democrats too, because you saw for 4 years, for 8 years really, because the 4 years before, before he became the president, before he ran on a propaganda campaign, and they seen that it worked twice, right? It almost worked when he ran with Biden. He wasn't too far behind. It almost worked. And it worked so good for the last 4 years that they really, like, he had people really saying that Biden stole the election. Biden stole the election. Well, let's do the same thing, Democrats.
Well, Bertha, I think if we could look at it from this point of view, for 4 years they were telling this country like who this man was, right? Time and time again. And it's like, even in the face of that, people were like, yeah, we don't care. So I'm not disagreeing with you, saying that we could do that, but for 4 years they tried to tell America like what this man was going to be, and they still chose to say, nah, we don't care. We don't care.
They did, but they did it in such a nice way. They need to pull out all of the big guns, all of the Jasmine Crockett's they could pull out, and let them run all of the fucking propaganda on the Democratic side that they possibly can, and get the people enacted, get the people, put some feet under the fire of Democratic voters, and we might have a chance. But personally, I think after this next 4 years, if he's not able to become a third-term president, that we'll basically vote for a roach over him or any other Republican. But that's just me.
The Dems need to put together and run their agenda like the Republicans do.
That's what I'm saying.
They when they get power, they don't utilize it to the fullest extent. They respectfully, for lack of a better term, they pussyfoot around it.
They pussyfoot.
And that's another problem that the Dems have. Like, the Republicans will get power, they'll redraw the lines, and they don't freaking care. And the Dems will try to play like we playing basketball, and they hacking. Hack back.
You gotta so the dive or race to the bottom in the end would not be fruitful in the end for this country. I mean, you have to kind of agree with that. Like,
what do you mean?
That's just because they're in the mud. Like, and I get your point. I'm not 100% disagreeing with you. But if the Dems are going to fight as dirty as the GOP, then we just have a bunch of just dirty people doing, like, it's going to get to a point where we no longer have a salient country anymore. If they're just going to be just in the dirt.
But at least put an agenda together and freaking do it. They could have codified Roe versus Wade. They did not. We could have had freaking healthcare or Medicare for all. Joe Manchin decides in the 15th minute after a very large donation, I want to do that. Like
don't
the
forget Cinema too.
Right. They annoy me when they do this. It's like, y'all got all this power and you do nothing with it. And as much as I love Obama, I'm like, dude, you had the freaking mandate. You should have utilized that mandate for more than just freaking healthcare. You could have got much, much more done. But they didn't.
Because they fought against it. People out of fucking healthcare. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy is a fucking weirdo, bro.
I'm a weirdo?
No, 17 million people are going to be removed off Medicaid. Like, this is nuts. All right.
I gotta be a weirdo, though?
Yeah, you're weird.
No, Mr. Finley. No. Sam, be nice. What is going on?
Oh, this is me being nice. You know I'm a villain. You know I'm Ursula. You poor unfortunate son.
No. Be nice. Okay.
Can I just say one thing? I think one thing I do agree with The Democrats don't stick together. The Republicans do. When they're voting something, the majority of the time they do stick together. And when Obama was in office, they always fought against every single thing he wanted to do. And the Democrats did not stick together when it came to voting.
It's called fighting fire with fire. You can't fight evil with good. It's just, you gotta get down and dirty. I understand peace and prosperity, but you gotta get your hands dirty. And I don't think that the Dems be trying to get their hands dirty.
Exactly.
It's all flower child type shit. Like, we gotta, for real.
But y'all we're gonna have a country that it's basically, it will just devolve into a civil war. Is what will happen.
We had that way anyway.
It's already there.
No.
Yeah, they said it that way. It is.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with what y'all saying, that we should get in the mud, right? But I would like to believe that we can do better. You know, maybe that's just me being, you know.
You know why Democrats are like that? The problem is they focus on policy details. When it comes to like Republicans, they'll stick to a script. They're not. They do the pressure to conform. So it's like if you look at what they did to Liz Cheney or even Mitt Romney, it's like they'll rally around their core issues and they'll just stick to it. The problem with Democrats, they think so, and we have so many different like people within our own part. Like we have like Obama would be more like a moderate Democrat. Then we have our progressives like AOC, and then we have she's more of a social centrist or whatever. We have our progressives, social centrists, our conservatives like Joe Manchin. Like we just have so many different people within our party versus Republicans who are just rally around one base.
Even if they don't believe it, Patty, they rally around it. Look at this freaking BBB.
I was gonna say that, family. Like, you see how he put his foot on their necks to pass that bill? We could do the same thing. Imagine if they would have put their foot on Joe Manchin's neck and told him he would never live another day in politics.
Exactly.
But they can. They should.
What's that girl's name? Pelosi did that every time. The problem is it was outside, right? They'll talk about it outside. They'll talk about it in the media. But Pelosi was bringing the party together. As much shit people talk about Pelosi, she's an amazing Speaker of the House. She made shit happen with all the diverse people that we have within our party.
Yeah, I agree with you, Patty. I want to jump in for just 1 second because when I was in here yesterday, I had kind of an aha moment in here because we had one of our matters in here and we were fighting about ICE, and I heard something that I've heard hundreds of times on this app, and what it was don't get emotional. Don't get emotional, as if that's some big insult, which of course is what's been thrown at women for our whole lives. Don't be emotional as something that's negative. And I thought to myself, wait, what the fuck? Hold on a second. What I'm feeling right now is furious, sad, scared, heartbroken, worried. All these are emotions, and it's what we should be feeling in the face of atrocities. But we've used this now. We've made it an insult, a negative thing. And I thought we always end up defending ourselves. Oh, I'm not being emotional. No, yeah, I am being emotional. We ought to be being emotional. It just struck me, and I wanted to say it yesterday when I was in the room, so I wanted to share it now.
Thank you, Mel. But that's the manosphere at work for you. The manosphere has done this. What men have to do is actually own up and take responsibility for the situation that we are in. They will not do that. They want to use their contrarianism as some sort of ideology, that they're a quote-unquote free thinker. They just want to go against what the conventional wisdom is, even if the conventional wisdom is helping people and helping women and helping immigrants. They think that is an ideology, and they think it makes them interesting. It doesn't make them interesting. It makes them a sheep to the MAGA shills and the manosphere that are on podcasts and Fox News that we see in the.
For the record,
bullying tactic. That's really what it comes to.
For the record, it only moved 2 points. black men only moved up 2 points for Trump versus the last election. They only moved 2 points, 3 overall over the 3 elections, 3 points. And again, the shaming of voters never works. That never works. Like, it literally never works. But I'm gonna go back to what Patty said earlier. One of the biggest problems that Dems have, and I've been screaming about this, they have a messaging problem. The Republicans will put together a message, even if it ain't real and it makes no sense. People believe and they buy into it. Freaking drill, baby, drill. And they go, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will get a message, they will all stick on message, and they will not divert from message. And the Democrats will spend 30 minutes trying to explain something that is extraordinarily simple. Even though details matter, voters they can't remember details. And that's another reason why they lose.
When you say we should lie,
I didn't say lie. Where did I say lie?
Holding the Republicans accountable instead of constantly going back to the refrain that the Democrats lose because of X, Y, or Z. That's how Democrats lose, because y'all people keep going back to how the Democrats lose. Talk about how disgusting and immoral the Republican Party and MAGA is, and how they are shills for authoritarianism and everything else that's going on in this country. But instead, you want to relitigate 2024, 2020, and
2024 just happened, Scotty. And clearly people don't care about the immorality.
We've already done it. We've already done it.
But I'm saying, right, that Dems are still losing.
And you're
right?
still talking about it. And they're moving on to try to make a better party, and they're still relitigating it. And this is the strategy of what you all do.
Scotty, I'll let you land.
I'm done. Go ahead.
So I'm saying this is still a problem, though, right? Messaging is a problem. You have a customer problem. You have a great freaking food in your restaurant, but people ain't coming in to eat.
So now we have a great food in our restaurant because before we weren't doing shit. Got it. So now I understand.
So you guys
basically
want to
you're
eat
saying
dumb
that
shit.
People are dumb and can't understand the message. So we have a messaging problem
You
because people
clearly
are dumb.
do have a messaging problem.
So so here's the thing. Why can't we just hear the message? I don't understand why y'all fighting back with that. Do you not agree that the Democrats need to fix the messaging?
No. What I think people have a problem with is that the person that this country voted for is a racist, is a fascist. Like I said, he followed the blueprint of the German people at that time, because just like Hitler arrested judges, Trump did the same thing. He went against the law. And nobody is really stopping him, not even the courts. Not really. So, I mean, how can people not be afraid of somebody tearing down your Constitution and at least give you some semblance of rights? I don't understand that. I would vote for a donkey before I vote for somebody that presented how Trump presented his stuff.
Right, but have you ever been in a classroom and seen how different people learn differently? And how one student will receive a message completely different than student B? Have you ever seen that happen before?
Yeah, if you fall into propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Because his message was very clear. He called people vermin. He called people...
I'm speaking and you are continuously speaking. I allowed you to finish. Please allow me the same. Thank you. I'm just saying that all of what you're saying, I'm not disagreeing with, but people make it seem like a lot of people, I'm not saying that there aren't people that chose it for those exact reasons. I believe that exists, but I'm also saying that there's a population out there that exists that really bought into it and did not pay attention to those blinking, flashing red signs. But people who can see, those that can hear, right, and have the discernment, they're like, why can't you see it? Because some people just don't have it in them to see it. They just don't.
But they can hear the lies, and they perceive that. Like, for example, like DEI and CRT, like the lies that have been told about that, they even told the truth. It's like, for whatever reason, they want to believe the lie. And that just doesn't make any sense because they can absorb one side, but they can't absorb it the other way. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
But you just said that for them, they didn't think that they needed it anyway. So why you gotta have it? I don't agree with it. That's their mindset. Again, you're saying it from how you perceive things, whereas they perceive something completely different. They don't even think it should have existed from the very beginning. That's what they will argue. I'm just telling you.
I understand what you're saying because I was around a lot of MAGA people. Even though I'm not MAGA, I had to leave a church, okay, because it was multicultural and it was evangelical. Okay, so I had to leave. I saw how people could use religion as well. Okay, because to me, they just didn't want to hear it because it's coming from a place of fear. Okay, because they saw some, when you approach things from the scripture, okay, I'm giving you scripture about what Jesus said, and you're ignoring scripture, but all this time you was up there worshiping and everything else, and I'm giving you scripture that is opposite of what Trump is promoting, and you're not hearing it, then who were you really? You know what I'm saying? So you really didn't believe all that time you going to church. You really didn't believe it. Until everybody is out for their own. That's what it is.
A buddy of mine he's a pharmacist, his wife's a teacher, and they voted blue like faithfully for many years. And one of the reasons that they crossed over was they couldn't get down with the trans stuff. They felt like the blue team put too many coins into the trans bin, and so that's one of the reasons that they voted. That they voted. Immigration was another big issue to them as well, but the trans thing was a reason that they voted. It had nothing to do with Trump per se. It was just the red team was anti-trans, and they got down with that.
So that's your response to what Regina was saying, like that, like.
Can I just say something? They used the trans thing. Because they said those same talking points to me, and I came back with scripture. Okay, I'm coming back with scripture with you because you're saying you're a Christian. You can't answer me because you're using it. It's not that you believe that. You know that Jesus said he did not come to judge the world. You know what I'm saying? He said, I did not come to judge. Judgment will be at the end.
This is one of the most tightly secured.
What we were to do was to spread the gospel. Okay? Jesus was walking amongst the most corrupt system, the Roman Empire, and did not address it. I'm not saying that Christians shouldn't get involved in politics, but when you make that the main focus and your sermons become more about Trump than Jesus, and you got unbelievers putting Trump on a cross, your witness is wrong. Jesus did not preach hate. Okay, so your Christianity and your theology is off. You just using the LGBTQ for your own reasonable purpose. So I'm questioning your salvation. I'm questioning your Christianity. So I had to leave.
Well, this guy's an atheist, so.
All right.
I like Regina's share, by the way, too. It speaks to the whole idea of how. It's a topic of messaging, how some things, I think when people are getting a message, it's, if you focus on one thing too hard, you start missing the other piece of the picture. And Regina's example, which is really good, the whole idea of, what was Jesus supposed to, what was Jesus was about, what was Christianity was about. And if you're focusing on something else, everything else that really was supposed to be a factor is not really coming into play as much as you think, as much as it should. And I think that's at the heart of the whole, this whole thing with, I think that means for us collectively, and I'm talking about us as, U.S. citizens, we have to think more robustly about several policies that we're looking for from a politician, not just link up on one. Because I think if we focus on just one aspect of it, this is how you get to be pulled by all these propaganda messages. It's all the people. If you think back about this, the people who voted for Trump, you can go to them and explain now. There's 20 things that are wrong about Trump, but their logic is, well, yeah, I don't like about this, that, and that, but I'm just interested in this one thing that I thought Trump would deliver on, and that's really not how you want to look at a politician. To be honest with you, you need to look at
that's how voters are, Pierre.
I'm trying to get back in here. One second. Let me rein in the horses because this is going crazy. All of this obfuscating what he said. He said a thing that is true. This is what the people who are voting are saying. And you're going to argue with the voter that this is how they should not feel? And you think that's going to push them to your side? That's the part that I don't understand in this communication. Okay, fine. We know all of what you say. Everybody has heard it. We know you're preaching to the choir. But I don't understand if you want their vote and all you're going to do is chastise them for feeling how they feel, that says to them that you're trying to make them feel how you feel. And that's not what they want to do. So I don't know how we deal with that crux of the problem, but some negotiation has to happen. We can't have a conversation if, in fact, nobody's willing to negotiate.
Bingo.
Can I say one thing? I agree with what you just said, First Lady. I had been out of the room, but I was here in time to hear whoever said that their friends couldn't get down with the trans thing. Here's how I would, because if you have friends that are at least willing to talk to you about that, what I would then ask is, so did they hear the Democrats? I would say, so can you show me where the Democrats were so down with the trans? Or did the Republicans tell you that the Dems are so down with the trans? And did they stay on that message? You know, because at the end of the day, which is something that I found out late in the game, was the transgender thing was signed under Donald Trump. He signed off on that. I wonder how many people who voted against the Dems because of what the Republicans were saying even knew that. I pretty much pay attention a lot, and it was way late in the game when I heard that or realized that he's the one that signed it. So I think with our messaging, those are the type of things we need to be looking at. When they can drill down to a specific issue that caused them to flip their vote, why don't we do more talking to them about whether or not that's even true? Because we know they're lying on the other side. That's the thing. We know that they're projecting.
Yeah.
We know these things, but we don't take the time to help them see it in that way, rather than judging them, rather than trying to make them feel bad. Let's talk about it. That's what I would do with my friends. Let's talk about it. Let's see who's really talking about the transgender thing like that. Because Democrats care about all people, right? They want they want things to be fair for all people. I never saw anybody getting down with the trans.
I just have to say one thing too. You have to understand.
I don't want to see
Wait a minute. One second.
You know, I don't want to see anybody hurt.
I'm sorry.
But let's talk about it. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we got to get better at that part of the messaging, especially when we know that that's not what it is. But if that's what's before them all the time, yeah, people are going to think that. We have to kind of help. We have to train ourselves to be better advocates and change our mindsets. We got to get better at changing how we respond to what we know are lies.
So, Mr. Finley, are you there?
I'm here.
So, what do you heard me speak? You heard Deborah speak? What's saying?
So, this conversation highlights my frustration with the blue team, because again, you're absolutely correct. when a voter says that, I don't like X, Y, and Z, and you're being chastised for that, because I brought up the Obama when I don't even vote federally, but when he made the comment about your man, you basically chastised men for about how to vote, I felt the type of way, because I'm like, that's not how you approach voters. And I recognize that there are a lot of low information voters out here, right? I recognize that, but the reality is, you still have to formulate a message to get them to buy your product. Like if I believe in electric cars, right? But if I scolded you and said you dumb and stupid for putting gas in your car because it's bad for the environment, you dummy, that is more expensive, you dummy.
Neither First Lady nor I said that. Her question to you right now was, what do you think about that going forward, sir?
I'm speaking to the global conversation.
What going forward, sir?
I'm not, Deborah, I'm not addressing you specifically. I'm speaking to the global. I'm saying,
that's all. That's not an attack.
Right, but I'm speaking to the global issue with the blue team. They have a messaging problem, and that doesn't work. They do have to simplify the message, and I believe that they need to take their eggs out of every basket, put your eggs in a few bigger baskets, and then quietly do your entire agenda. And the trans issue was something I felt they put too many eggs in their baskets. Because again, I vote locally.
Yeah, you don't listen.
That harmed them locally. It was one of the things that harmed them locally.
You accept the framing of MAGA. That's what.
I don't accept the framing of MAGA, Scotty. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm talking about voters.
I pretty much agree with you. I said, what if we do? And then I said, I agree with you. You're still talking about that part. I think we all agreed that we've already agreed the messaging was not good. I was making a suggestion for going forward. And First Lady asked, what did you think about that? You're still talking about the bad messaging before. I gave a suggestion going forward. You're still talking about what already happened. I agree with you.
Can I just say one thing?
No, you cannot. 1 second. They're having a back and forth.
Restate your solution, because your solution didn't sound like a one from the party per se. It sounded like a one for like person to person.
So it starts from person to person. I was talking about the situation with your friends. I specifically said that your friends you had a conversation with your friends, is what you said, and they told you why they flipped their vote. Because they didn't get down with the trans issue. I was addressing that issue in particular, your situation, because I don't know who was talking, but I did say whoever that was. And then I gave a suggestion how that can go better in the future. It is if your friend, because a lot of times friends don't even talk about politics, especially if they don't agree. But if you're able to have a conversation with a friend and they tell you why they flipped from Democrat to the reason why is over the trans issue, what I'm saying is have a conversation with them. Talk to them. Say, hey, so let's talk about it. Let's get a little deeper into that. At what times? Who was talking about it? What do you mean specifically that they're getting down with the trans issue? What issue are that you're concerned about? Because at the end of the day, that's not true. But what happened was the Republicans made that be a Democratic issue. They talked about it, but some people not even aware. I was one of them, and I consider myself informational. It was a while before I even realized that Donald Trump signed the trans issue operations or whatever, surgeries in prison. That was on his watch.
What are you talking?
And so that could be an issue or a topic of discussion for someone who flipped because of the transgender issue. Were they even aware that that was signed under him? wasn't signed on under the Democrats. So I am only suggesting that we not be critical, that we inform, that we get better at training ourselves to inform those who believe these things that are not true. So, and have a real conversation back and forth rather than judge them. They could still they may never believe it, or it might not change their minds, but we don't know that. But to allow them to say it and there's no response, and it doesn't have to be the trans issue. It could be a friend who had another issue that made them flip. If they're saying something that you know not to be true, why not talk about it? Not judge them, have an open conversation, show them the facts. In the trans situation, knowing that Donald Trump signed it could have been something that they weren't aware of.
Okay.
Right? But we don't know because we don't communicate. We got to get better at telling the real issue and not what the GOP tells us the issue is, because that's what they do.
And that's really good, too, that you have that information, because it shifts us out of having to be defensive when you actually have the real fact about that. That's really a cool point. You know, I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking about something that happened before the election. I was out having coffee with a relatively new friend, somebody who does not consider herself political. She told me that her fiance was Republican. She wasn't sure what she was going to do as far as voting. And we started to talk, and I was like really trying to get her on Team Blue. And I did something which I've always known to do, which is to find the personal, find the place where something really hits somebody in the heart. So we started talking about abortion, about women's rights, about women's bodily autonomy. And she's a very cool woman in her mid-50s who has a career and mom of 3 boys and, you know, really empowered woman. But we started to have that conversation. And I'm getting into, you know, abortion can be really, really touchy. And as we talked, her eyes started to well up. And suddenly she just broke down and she told me this story about being like 15 years old and some girl at school telling her that she was pregnant, and the girl coming to her, and this woman was from like a really super Christian family, and she didn't know what to do and she didn't know how to help her, and she was terrified. And she finally just, her heart knew that she needed to help the girl, and she went to her mom and she got her mom to help get the girl the abortion. And it was like the dam broke. And it became very personal for her, the whole issue. And it's like, that's where you have to meet people. It's more than just talk. It's more than what's in your head. You have to find the thing that really affects somebody and gives them the understanding that this is about them. You know, I mean, people going back again to the manosphere and to women and emotions, you know, when people tell me stop taking it personally, I go, I don't, there's no other way I want to take it other than personally. If you can make it personal with people, that's the opening in my experience.
So, again, I don't know what law you're referring to that's sometime, but that's not the issue, right? The issue is this perception, right? The Dems put off a perception that, you know, I often say the Republicans are in denial about climate science, and the Dems seemingly are in denial about biology. And that is the perception, right? And them, the reason, again, presidential elections are an individual thing, but it's a team sport, right? The red team puts up this perception that with respect to that particular issue, they're going to protect the kids, right? They're going to protect their daughter who plays sports from having to compete against a guy, right? That's the perception that they put up. I'm not going to get into the arguments about the fact that there's only a handful of them that actually compete. But that doesn't matter because their perception is their reality. And the blue team does a terrible job of, one, taking a common sensory position, number two, and two, dispelling this perception. That's a problem. And me having a one-on-one conversation is not going to solve that very macro problem that they have.
I have to kind of agree with both of you. But especially the lady Deborah, you're right about having a conversation with people. But once they have certain things in their mindset, because if you knew, Trump's base is a lot of evangelicals, okay, and their whole mindset is Christian nationalism, okay, and so when you're dealing with that type of mindset, you're dealing with somebody's strongholds that you can show people the evidence and they're still not going to receive it. You will be ostracized. You know what I'm saying? They'll even say that you're not a believer. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not voting about transgender and all the other stuff, because those are people's personal choices. Okay, we're not called to do that. But their whole thing is to make this nation a Christian nation. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to look at the behind the scenes and who Trump has there, like Paula White, and a lot of those evangelicals he had come up into the White House, and he's going to these evangelical churches. Those are all his base. You know what I'm saying? And so when they're trying to change all these laws and stuff, it's not about, even the part where they're taking services and stuff away from poor people, that definitely goes against the gospel. But they don't care. You know what I'm saying? They're seeing it as
how they got a devil representing.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I was talking. You see how people, they're not looking at what he's doing as far as poor people. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. They do have a devil as a representation. They actually said this man was anointed and sent by God. And I'm like, people are delusional. You know what I'm saying? So some people, you can sit down and try to have a conversation with them, but they're not going to hear it because they already have it set in their mind. Regardless of what you showed them, what he did, and how you showed them that he can't get totally rid of abortion, it doesn't matter. To them, he is almost like their savior.
I'm surprised that you guys don't draw clear comparisons.
They tried to say the same thing about Obama as well.
There's some clear comparatives between kings that were appointed by God and how they had
wait a fucking minute, nigga. Wait a minute.
TC. King David is one of them. And he was anointed and appointed by God.
What's going on?
Hey,
TC, nobody is listening to you because you was talking over someone. Wait a minute.
I was saying to the lady, they said the same thing about Obama. They said he was the Messiah, right?
Who said that?
When he became president, people were saying that we thought he was the Messiah. And people pushed back on that because we knew he wasn't the Messiah.
I never heard one evangelical say that.
Okay. So when you're watching one, so what can we agree that the Republicans have a hell of a echo chamber? Like they are taking over the radio stations and the TV for the most part.
Oh.
When you go anywhere, you go into any public place, it's on Fox News. And so
name one other conservative
they have the airways,
outlet
they
besides
have all of the airways, and they are winning they are winning the communication war. They are definitely winning that.
Man,
but
name one other conservative cable
television news outlet.
You're gonna go on TC, or I'm gonna kick you all the way out.
No kicking out. No kicking out. Okay, but can we at least come on and slow it? I mean, fast it up. You know what I mean? Come on.
Okay. Yeah. When they are winning the war on communication. So we have to start somewhere. What I said was not a one-all, beat-all. It's a start to train yourself to be able to tell the truth when they are speaking or believe something that's not. I'm not seeing what the pushback is on that. I'm not saying it's going to solve everything, but if they only watch Fox News and that type of news, because there's some real news out there. There's some real news out there. And if they're only hearing that, then yeah, what else do you expect them to believe if that's the only thing that they watch?
So there's nothing that can be further from the truth to suggest that mainstream media is being dominated by conservative media. That's patently false. You can't name one other conservative news outlet on cable television besides Fox News. When you have ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, all dominating the airwaves when it comes to cable television. The argument
so I said what I said, and when there is a trial,
wait a minute.
The reason why
wait a minute. He did not finish.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of like false equivalences that's being perpetuated in this conversation. The suggestion that somehow Donald Trump can't be appointed by God. Thank you for muting me. Or that his followers or that his supporters or his voters are somehow in a delusion. When you look at King David sent a man to the front lines because he had adultery, had a baby.
Thank you again. All right, so I'm not going to tolerate this behavior today. I'm not, because as soon as we get opposing views in, y'all shut it down, and then we'd have the conversation no more. There's no way to move forward if you don't understand the voices from other people. If you can't have the conversation, that's fine. Leave. Come back later. But don't stunt everybody else from hearing what the people have to say. If they don't want to hear it, they'll leave as well.
Thank you.
But I want to be able to hear the people come back exactly what they're saying so that your voice can be heard, not the argument. The truth. Let the truth speak for itself. It will.
Yes, because we all know that TC gonna say some stupid shit. Let him say it. Go ahead, TC.
Shut up.
I mean, everything that I've said is 100% factual. You can't point to any other mainstream cable news outlet that's conservative besides Fox News. You cannot disassociate Donald Trump from other kings that were appointed by God in the Bible that have done worse things than he has and said worse things than he has, and they were appointed by God and they were supported by God. So even in faith doctrine, we know that there are imperfect people that God points to positions. God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. He literally directed Pharaoh to restrict the people of Israel from being released. God did that, not Pharaoh. So again, the argument that God can't use Donald Trump or that God's providence is not in Donald Trump's life, I think you have to elevate yourself to the level of God to make such a determination. We know in Romans, God, the scriptures is clear that all authority is given by God, and that when you push back against the authority, that's exactly what Romans says. So again, I'll end.
Yeah, can I just address that?
Let me address it.
Wait, can I address that?
No, wait a minute.
I want to address it since I was the one that brought it up.
Wait a minute. What's going on? Chill back. I hear Lisa wants to get in there. I want to hear from Lisa.
It's going to be very brief, babe, because I don't have time for this shit. I'm going to get a facial instead of live because Clubhouse. Hey, girl, Clubhouse got me on pins and needles, my nerves, my edges. I'm going to get a facial. So let me tell you something. One thing I do, my family is a follower of Jesus Christ. I have a uncle who's a great minister in the state of Texas, pastor of a huge church there. And my mother, but then the bottom line is, you cannot force, you can say whatever you want, and that's your opinion. You cannot force your religion
and your values and what you think on others. Everybody in this country is not a Christian. They're Muslims. There's all kind of other religions besides Christianity. And for you to be able to sit here with moral authority and tell us we got to accept somebody who clearly does not, values are not aligned with mine, regardless if I'm a Christian or not, is the biggest hypocrisy, the nerve. That's why this is America. People came here to this country, these white people came here to avoid or evade religious prosecution. And now we got people coming here telling us we need to kiss the ass of Satan because in the Bible, we said God used people who were less than to pursue. That's fine. But this is a new day. This is not that day. We're not wearing sandals and trying to get across the Red Sea. We're here. This is 2025. We are technically advanced. We are free thinkers. We are educated. We are socialists. We don't give a fuck about this nigga. He's up there with all his crimes, and you're the one upholding a false God, a false prophet. It's you. It is you. If God wants to work with him, hey, that's between him and God. But don't force your shit on everybody else to have to eat and at the table with you and like it. That's what I don't like. Keep that shit out of it. First of all, the government and religion are separate. So don't come in here and try to make it one to suit your purposes, whoever the fuck you guys are. That's what irritates me. You just say that's what you think. Don't put it all on everybody else, right? Because you can get the right one.
What Lisa is saying. I want to echo what Lisa is saying.
Wait, one second, babe. One second.
I'm good. I'm done. Thank you, First Lady.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo
No,
what
wait a
Lisa
minute,
is saying.
Manfinity. You haven't. Wait a minute. There's already class.
Should I just address
join the stage?
TC because I was the one that brought up the thing about
But I wanted to just
about Trump and how the Christian community as TC, I'm a Christian too. And some of the stuff I agree with Lisa. I'm one of those that believe in separation of church and state. A lot of times people always want to draw from the Old Testament. We are in a different dispensation. We are under the dispensation of grace, okay? If Jesus said he did not come to judge the world, who are we? Yes, all power and authority is and God does use evil, okay? But he said, I will use evil for good. Now, to elevate Donald Trump to the status that the church has elevated him to is wrong. Okay? He is a bad witness. Okay? When you have, like I said, unbelievers putting Trump on a cross like he's a savior, that tells me our witness is bad. I don't agree with transgender and all that stuff, but I do believe, what does the Bible say? It's the Holy Spirit that brings the conviction. Jesus told us to go out and spread the gospel, and whoever receives it, and who doesn't, don't. Wipe the dust off your feet and keep it moving. We cannot dictate morality. You cannot dictate Christianity. That's not how Jesus told us to do it. And again, I will say, Jesus walked amongst the most corrupt government, the Roman Empire. They had all kind of orgies, Caligula, and all that other stuff. If you look at the history, and he did not address it. He said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, and render unto God what is God. Our service is unto God, and our response is supposed to be different than the rest of the world. Okay? We are not supposed to dictate our religious belief on other people. That's going against somebody's will. Okay? And even God won't do that. So when they start coming with this theology about, oh, well, David this and the king that, I'm not saying that God does not raise up evil for good. All I'm saying to you is the church's response in elevating this man to a status in the church that they should not have. You have him going into all these different churches, and it's for political reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's the motive isn't even right. And I'm not pretending to say that I know his heart. So wait, sir. Wait a minute. We listen to you. I'm not saying that I know his heart. All I'm saying to you is Jesus said you will know them by their fruit. And what is the fruit? Love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness. Is all of that in Trump?
All right, so you just added all that on there. Lisa said what she had to say. I'm not sure. Are you going to respond to Lisa or are you going to respond to Regina?
No, I'm going to respond to both of them. I give you
Across the yellow line drawn on the ground.
Jamal Bryant in Atlanta, Georgia, paraded Kamala Harris on the stage and gave a whole speech on a Sunday morning. The hypocrisy, it stinks to high heaven. No pun intended. Like, you cannot sit here and lecture us that the church is taking an adopting some sort of idolatrous posture towards Donald Trump, and at the same time ignore what the black church has done for Kamala Harris. It's hypocrisy. And
that's a lie.
Lisa,
that's another lie.
Do not cut him off. Let him speak.
You just cut it
I
off.
agree with you. She has every right.
Come on,
not
class.
to feel,
Come on.
Not to have to feel preached to and lectured on about morality when her morals might not necessarily align with the next guy's morals. That's fine. That's fair. Where I disagree is when you said should be a church separation of church and state. The government the Constitution makes it clear that the Congress should pass no law, establishing a national religion. That's a separation of state and church. But our history is riddled with integrations and commingling of faith and government, where the church has an outsized influence on government. You can look at the writings of George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, where they regularly and routinely reference faith doctrines and scriptures in their writings as government officials. They were sponsors of the church, and church were sponsors of their campaign. So again, I'm with you when you say let's not force religion down people's throat and force them to adopt their moral perspective and tell them how they should vote because of it. I agree with you. Anybody that does that, they're taking advantage of you and exploiting their moral influence on your decision making. I'm not suggesting we do any of that. All I'm doing is responding when somebody said this man is evil, and that people in the conservative right,
27.
Elevating him as tantamount to some type of sacrilegious, exercise is not true.
May I piggyback on that, First Lady? First Lady, may I piggyback?
I don't really care about this biblical.
I'm about to go into
trying to
just
not religious.
I just say 1 minute.
I'm not
I just say 1 minute.
religious.
Hold up.
I don't care about these fucking fake Christians.
Excuse me, I'm about to leave.
No, that's okay. You just got here. You wait.
I'm about to leave. Can I go real quick, please?
So what? If you can't go,
I ain't talking to you, bro. I'm talking to you.
Moderating the stage, you guys.
Yeah, stop moderating the stage real quick.
Oh my God, First Lady, I need a drink. I can't drink alcohol.
Because you come in here and trying to
Be quiet. Please,
A little bit of time. Let me say this.
One second.
I have to leave, man. Please go.
I have to leave. Let me say this bullshit. And let me...
Listen.
You can't go.
Chill back. Everybody just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath out. It's okay. All right? Chill back. So, listen. Who said that they were going to go at the TC? I didn't hear anybody say they wanted to go at the TC. So what's wrong with going to Matt Kennedy? The fact that he asked?
Because they hate me.
Yeah. Shut up. You don't help the situation.
I'm such a victim. No, but he wants to say So just let him go. Let him finish his bullshit.
I have to leave. I'm going into a memorial. I
Bye,
just have to leave.
We'll go to the memorial and come back later.
Come on. This is unnecessary disrespect for no reason.
I got it, class. I got it. Thank you. All right. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I just wanted to almost reiterate what TC said in the sense that I agree with Lisa. I even agree with what Regina's saying. You should never impose your views on other people. So nobody should be imposing people to kiss Donald Trump's orange ass the way that Lisa said. So almost everything that TC said, I want to just highlight and reiterate because it's important to be said. If you impose your views or your religion on anybody, that is not in the likeness of Christ. That is not following the example of Christ. So anybody that's imposing, you're not following the example of Christ. And in terms of the separation of church and state, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but TC, I completely agree with you. The separation of church and state is something that is not found in our founding documents. Congress shall make no law establishing one religion over another. Christianity is not a religion, it's a way of life. That was in our founding documents. They mentioned God, but I just want to make that clear. That separation of church and state is not a thing. That was something that was created in the 40s, okay? Not in our founding documents.
So,
And,
you know, hold on, because that's bullshit. You talking about founding documents? What was in our founding documents, Manfinity, that we don't practice today? You want to go back to the founding documents?
No,
Is that what you asking for?
The founding documents
You said the separation of church and state was not in our founding documents. It didn't appear until the 1940s. Okay, but what was in our founding documents? Stupid.
Okay, so the term. Hold on, real quick, and I gotta separate.
What is wrong with y'all? Stop cutting
The
him
term.
off and let him say.
Absolutely, but the separation of church and state, okay, is a term that came up about in the 40s to describe. Actually, it comes from a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It came from a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote, but it was not part of our founding documents. It was a letter that he sent to a group of Christians. I can't remember the context. I wasn't done. Why can't I finish? The term separation of church and state is not in our Constitution. It's not in the Declaration of Church.
Dang, I went to the bathroom. Oh my God, I can't even.
Okay, go. I agree with y'all. I gotta
My
go.
bladder.
Okay, good luck.
I can't even empty my bladder. Come on, guys.
No, you're being disrespectful. That's what you're
That
doing.
people continuously come into the space, and then we have our we time where it is just us, and we sit back, we kick it, and we laugh, and we kiki. But then when class is in session, why are y'all disrupting the classroom like this? This is very disrespectful. It really, truly is. I understand we don't agree with their points, but we're preparing for the midterms. And all we keep doing is going into the midterms, hating each other versus understanding each other. It's not helping. It didn't help before. This is not Lisa speaking. GA, you gotta stop glitching up.
No, I love that I'm getting mixed up with you because your voice is beautiful. Mine is ghetto assessor. But
no, it is not, Lisa. You have to stop.
I'm gonna go sign. Let me go.
No, so I just want to say, come on, guys. Get the classroom together now.
Let's be clear. I didn't interrupt him. What I said,
I don't know. I went to the bathroom. I
waited for him to finish, and when he continued to say, he said exactly what he said that I responded to. I was actually having dialogue. That's what you call a dialogue. What I was doing, I was asking him, if that's the case, then what was in the founding documents that we no longer practice today, and why? Or do you want to go back to that? That's the question that I had.
Slavery should be respected. We know Manfinity will not do that. No, wait. We know Manfinity will not have a dialogue. He wants to say his spiel, get it all completely out. We're not muted in space. Brooklyn, that is not the person to have a dialogue with, because he's going to stop, complain about being interrupted, and start all over again. That is the reason why First Lady said, okay, Manfinity, you're next. Everybody who's in this space knows for a fact, do not interrupt Manfinity, because it tracks him off and he takes twice as long. That's not a dialogue person you have. Let him get it all out. I disagree with everything he said, including the periods, the semicolon, and the commas. But we need to let other people speak, because if we just argue amongst ourselves, we'll spend the next 20 minutes talking about how we hated what he said, and he's not even freaking in here. We need to be adults at some point and listen to the other side, because they will always hang themselves. Let them talk themselves into a corner and do like
what's going on?
More time than anybody else.
And on left or off their mic for whatever reason. What is going on with you guys today? Is it happy hour? I know that GA was speaking.
I'm speaking like Manfinity.
Oh my God, this is okay. I'm done. I'm really done. You guys, hope these
What is wrong with you, baby? Go take your medication.
All right, so thank you, GA. I appreciate that.
So I'm open to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Aleph, you were going to say something? Not yet. Brooklyn, go ahead. You want to
It doesn't matter. It's not useful at this point in time.
So I'm
First lady, if I may,
At some point, maybe after.
I just want. Okay,
Sure,
thanks.
I'll
No,
get
I'll
you
just
in
say
there. Brooklyn.
the part
Brooklyn
when these people.
Was
Oh,
Brooklyn
sorry.
about to
Go ahead.
speak?
No, go ahead, Sadie. I'll go after you.
Oh yeah, I just want.